एवरीवन, जय हिंद एंड वेलकम टू द प्लेटफॉर्म ऑफ श्री राम आईएएस। आप सभी का स्वागत है श्री राम आईएएस के प्लेटफॉर्म पर। एंड इन अनदर सेशन ऑफ पॉलिटी इन 20 मिनट्स विल बी डिस्कसिंग टुडे द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया। आज हम प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया के बारे में बात करेंगे आज के सेशन में, इन द सेशन दैट वी विल हैव इन टुडेज सेशन। ऑलराइट, एंड साथ ही साथ आगे बढ़ने से पहले मैं आपको बता दूं दैट इफ यू आर स्टक somewhere in your preparation, अगर आपको कहीं पर भी कोई भी प्रॉब्लम है, कोई भी डाउट है, तो then you can connect with our mentors because at Shri Ram's IAS we are offering you free 1:1 mentorship, जहां पर आप सीधा हमारे मेंटोर से बात कर सकते हैं, उनके साथ कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं। आपकी जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उनका सॉल्यूशन आपको मिलेगा, रेजोल्यूशन आपको मिलेगा। एंड इट इज़ वेरी सिंपल। आपको करना है कि आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जो गूगल फॉर्म है उसको फिल कर देना है एंड देन our mentors will get connected with you. Now when we talk about the parliamentary system, तो parliamentary system में जब भी हम बात करते हैं तो the prime minister is the keystone of the cabinet arc, and that was said by B.N. Rao, who was the constitutional advisor as well. जब हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेसिस की बात करते हैं तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बेसिस में हम अगर देखें तो वी हैव आर्टिकल 74 एंड आर्टिकल 75 जो ये एस्टैब्लिश करता है कि देयर वुड बी अ काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर दैट विल बी हेडेड बाय प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड द प्रेसिडेंट एक्ट्स ऑन द एड एंड एडवाइस ऑफ दिस काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर, जो हमने पहले भी बात की थी। इसी के साथ साथ आर्टिकल 75(1) कहता है द प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज अपॉइंटेड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट। प्लीज रिमेंबर ओवर हियर द वर्ड इज अपॉइंटेड। प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज नॉट इलेक्टेड। ऑलराइट, प्राइम मिनिस्टर को इलेक्ट नहीं किया जाता है। ही इज इलेक्टेड एज अ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट एंड देन ही इज अपॉइंटेड एज प्राइम मिनिस्टर बाय द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया। इसी के साथ साथ आर्टिकल 75(3) कहता है कि देयर वुड बी अ काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर एंड दिस काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर विल बी कलेक्टिवली रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द लोकसभा। एंड साथ ही साथ अगर हम बात करें तो पार्ट 5 जो यूनियन एग्जीक्यूटिव के बारे में है in the constitution that deals with president, vice president, prime minister as well as council of minister and the attorney general as well. Now when we talk about the nature of the office of prime minister, the prime minister acts as the de facto head of the government. De facto, that is, he is the actual head, or you can say by the facts he is the head. Although हम जब बात करते हैं आपका when we talk about the head of the nation, that is president. But at the same time, when it comes to the head of the government, it is the prime minister. So president is de jure head and prime minister is the de facto head of the government, and he is a symbol of political leadership, coordination and accountability as well. Now when we talk about the prime minister is central to the cabinet system under the collective responsibility. And जब हम देखते हैं आपका when we compare the constitution of UK and even India. So in UK, the prime minister is the first among equals, or he is also called as primus inter pares. And in India, the position of prime minister is that he is the leader of majority party or leader of the coalition and also the head of the government that we have in India. Now, there are different articles which are related to the Prime Minister. Article 74 that lays down that there would be a council of minister to aid and advise the president. There are Article 75(1) that lays down that Prime Minister will be appointed by the president. Then 75(2) that lays down the ministers will hold the office during the pleasure of the president. Then we have collective responsibility under Article 75(3). Along with this, we have Article 75(4) that lays down the oath administration that will be given by, or the oath will be administered by the President of India. And then we have Article 75(5) that lays down the qualification, and the qualification is same as the member of parliament. And also Article 77 that is related to the conduct of business of Government of India. So these are the articles which are related to Prime Minister in India. Now, like I said, the appointment of the Prime Minister is done by the President. Alright, and under Article 75(1), this is not at discretion because this is guided by the parliamentary norms. And when we talk about the appointment of the Prime Minister, so the Prime Minister is basically, he will be the, he will appoint, the President will appoint Prime Minister who would be the leader of the largest majority. If any single party will get the majority, alright, so the leader of that party will be appointed as the Prime Minister, or of the coalition majority. Alright, the leader that is chosen by the coalition partners. And in the case of hung parliament, In the case of hung parliament, over here, the discretionary power of the president comes to the role play, and during this, the president exercises his limited discretion and he can appoint the prime minister on the basis of his own discretion, and he holds the office till the new prime minister is elected. So the prime minister also takes care of the caretaker government in the case of, जब आपका जो है भंग कर दिया जाता है लोकसभा, या फिर आपका जो है when the ministers, the council of ministers loses the majority. So in that case also, and over here in the case in 1996-99, there was a hung parliament where the discretionary power were tested, where Gujral and Vajpayee ji were appointed as the prime minister. Now, what should be the qualification of prime minister? So he should be citizen of India, the first and the foremost qualification for any constitutional post. And also he must be member of the parliament. Alright, and he could be member of either house of the parliament. Now, over here there is one more clause that has to be remembered, and this is for the member of parliament as well, that if he is not member of parliament, he must get elected or nominated within 6 months. And the same thing goes for the ministers as well. Anybody can be appointed as minister or prime minister even if he is not member of either house of the parliament, but then there is a limited window that he must get elected or nominated within the next 6 months to retain his position, and also he must command majority in the Lok Sabha. And when we are talking about that he must be a member of either house of parliament, so the current prime minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, he is member of Lok Sabha, but at the same time the previous prime minister, that is Dr. Manmohan Singh, he came from Rajya Sabha. He was member of Rajya Sabha and he was appointed as prime minister all right, between 2004 to 2014. Now, when it comes to the oath and the term, the oath is administered by the president. The president of India, he administers the oath, and the oath is basically towards the faith and allegiance to the constitution, the faithful discharge of the duties as prime minister, and also to maintain the secrecy. At the same time, there is no fixed term. Please remember, there is no fixed term of the office of the prime minister. He holds office during the pleasure of the president. Alright, and it is practically as long as he commands the majority in the Lok Sabha that he remains the prime minister, and the president does not have any discretion to remove a person who has been appointed as prime minister till the time he commands majority in the Lok Sabha. Now, as a prime minister, he is the executive leader because he heads the council of ministers. At the same time, he is legislative leader also because he is chief spokesperson in the parliament. He is a political leader because he is the leader of the ruling party or the ruling alliance, and also he acts as a constitutional bridge because he acts as a link between the president and the council of ministers and transmits the decision and advices to the president, and also he is a national symbol where he represents India at the global platforms. Alright, there is, when we talk about cabinet system, so cabinet system is basically, it is the prime minister who is center to the cabinet system. Alright, he controls the coordination across the ministries and leads to the policy formation. Also, he decides the distribution of various portfolios that is given to the president. Portfolios is the ministries that is given to different ministers. So he decides the distribution of various ministries or the portfolios of the ministers. He is the leader of the cabinet. Alright, he leads the meetings. He also sets the agenda of the meeting, various meetings, and also he supervises the ministries with the administrative oversight. At the same time, he arbitrates interministerial conflicts and acts as a mechanism for the dispute resolution between various ministries. So the cabinet is what the prime minister makes it, in the words of Jennings. Now, when it comes to the relationship with the president, so over here, the president is the formal head in the Indian democracy or the setup that we have, and the prime minister is, or he is the de facto head or the real authority that we have in India, and he has the executive authority. Alright, the presidential actions are based on the Prime Minister's advice because we know as per Article 74, the President shall act on aid and advice of the Council of Ministers that is headed by Prime Minister, and he keeps the President informed about the various decisions and even the policy that have been formulated or they are in pipeline regarding the administration of the union. As well as he acts as constitutional bridge between president and the Council of Ministers. So that is the the relationship that he has with the president. And in Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab in 1974, it was said by the Supreme Court that the president must act. That is, it is not a discretion. He must act on the advice of Council Minister that is headed by the Prime Minister. Now, as it comes with the Council of Minister, so the ministers are appointed or the portfolios are given on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Council of Minister is again appointed by the President. Alright, the President, the first of all, he appoints the Prime Minister, and after appointing the Prime Minister gives the advice that which all member of Parliament will be his ministers, and then the President, he appoints the ministers to the Council of Ministers. Alright, he can also recommend, alright, the Prime Minister can recommend the removal of any minister at any point of time to the President, to which the President adheres. Alright, at the same time, he decides the size and structure of the Council of Ministers, and also no confidence motion if it is passed against the Council of Ministers. That means the entire of Council of Ministers resigns, and it can be passed against even single minister as well. The no confidence motion, if it is passed against a single minister as well, then also the whole Council of Ministers resigns, because we have a policy where the Council of Ministers, they sink and swim together. That is, we have a notion of collective responsibility, and Prime Minister ensures there is cabinet unity and even the policy coordination is there between the cabinet members. Now, when we talk about the Parliament, what his relationship is with the Parliament, so he is the leader of the Lok Sabha if he is member of the lower house. Alright, he also is the main communicator between the government and the Parliament, and also he is basically who decides about the money bills, because money bill is introduced by the Council of Ministers. It cannot be introduced by any private member. At the same time, budgets and motions. So he has a complete oversight about the legislative passage, and also he faces the questions and explains his decisions to the Lok Sabha. Please remember this, that whenever it comes to the answerability of the Council of Ministers or the Prime Minister, it is only towards Lok Sabha. Alright, they are not answerable to the Rajya Sabha. At the same time, he is directly impacted by the confidence motion, whether it is confidence or no confidence motion, because if the no confidence motion is passed, then the complete Council of Ministers along with the Prime Minister will have to resign. Now, when it comes to the relationship with the party and the nation, he is head of the political party or coalition that is ruling in power. Alright, at the same time, he determines the strategy and the government messaging, and he lays down the complete political strategy as well, and he leads in crisis or in the foreign policy as well. That is, he is a national symbol on the global arena, and also he exercises authority that extends to the political legitimacy as well. So over here, you can understand this by the example of Nehru, whose moral authority was there, as well as with the example of Indira Gandhi's, who had a centralized authority. Now, when it comes to the administrative power, so over here, he supervises the governance and therefore directly impacts the central bureaucracy. Alright, he also have direct implementation of the rules of business, the issues that are there under Article 77. Also, the Cabinet Secretary, the PMO, Niti Aayog, they all let him, they are just like a backend which supports him into the coordination, and there is a complete institutional coordination that is there, and there is institutional governance capacity after the PMO's extension as well, and also there are transfers, approvals or the key appointments which are made after the advice of the Prime Minister. Now, when it comes to the foreign policy, I told you he represents India on the global arena and represents India in bilateral, multilateral or even in different summits which are organized. Alright, he signs treaties as well as the agreements, though the signatures which are done, it is in the name of President of India, but he signs it. All right. At the same time, he shapes the foreign policy and agenda that is through the continuity through the Prime Minister's office and even the Ministry of External Affairs. Over here, you can understand this, that how different policies have been shaped. The foreign policies have been shaped. During the Nehruvian era, there was non-alignment movement. All right, that was spearheaded. At the same time, during Indira Gandhi's regime, there was Bangladesh liberation, as well as during Modi's era, we have neighborhood first and the Act East like foreign policies which have been decided by these Prime Minister. Now, there is collective as well as individual responsibility. When we talk about the collective responsibility, the entire Council of Ministers is responsible towards the Lok Sabha. And if any no confidence motion is passed, that means that the Lok Sabha has lost faith and the government or the party has lost the majority in the Lok Sabha, and therefore the Council of Ministers resigns. At the same time, we have individual responsibility. When it comes to the individual responsibility, the minister is accountable to the Prime Minister in his individual capacity as the head of that ministry to which he has been assigned to. And there could be dismissal of the minister on the advice of Prime Minister that he gives to the President. Also, there is political responsibility. The political responsibility is towards the people who have elected these representatives, and you can see that the 2014 and 2019 mandates have reaffirmed that there is faith in the Prime Minister's leadership. Alright, now there are certain checks on Prime Minister's authority as well. It is not that the complete, when we talk about the authority, it is unchecked. So when we talk about the checks that are there are constitutional limits. Like for example, we have collective responsibility towards Lok Sabha. We have also judicial review. That is, the actions of the Prime Minister are subject to judicial review that had been laid down in Kyoto, Holland in 1992. Then we have internal party constraints as well, where we are talking about the democracy and dissent within the party. At the same time, we have a federalism status where we have the state autonomy as well. All right, there are state autonomy and the state have the power to legislate on certain subjects. So that is another check, and there is also the public accountability mechanism that had been laid through the opposition as well as media. So when we talk about the Lohira's insight, it says that the Prime Minister is powerful only as or so long as Parliament lets him to be. All right. Now, when we talk about the evolution of the office of the President right from 1947, all right, from 1947 to 1964, that was the era of Nehru, where there were institutional and idealistic leadership that was born, and ultimately the parliamentary norms had been established during that period of time. Then came the centralized and assertive governance under the regime of Indira Gandhi between 1966 to 1984, where strong prime ministerial authority was set up or it was laid down. Later on, there was coalition era, all right, where there was compromise politics, there was coalition or consensus politics that was the center here of the Prime Minister's office. And over here, there were fragmented mandates as well as hung parliaments that we saw between 1989 to 1999. But later on, from 2014 to present, we have Prime Minister Modi, where he has shown that there is a centralized but mass-based leadership. And today, we are talking about digital governance as well as decisive authority that we have in the President of India. All right, so we have moved from the trend from the cabinet's primacy to the prime ministerial dominance that we can see in the office of Prime Minister. Now, what is the significance of the Prime Minister's office? So, he is the core of the political system, or he acts as the political nerve center through which the different policies have been framed, and also bridges the two branches, that is executive and legislative as well. He lays down the vision, also the governance mechanism and the implementation of various policies, and act as the policy driver, as well as he has a role of the stability provider, especially wherever we have the coalition parties that are there. And also he is accountable to the people, and that lays down the democratic spirit in the office of Prime Minister. Now, in the word of Granville Austin, the success of India's constitution, it depends largely on the character and caliber of the Prime Minister. All right, so the Prime Minister is the axis of the democratic functioning. All right, when it comes to the Constitution, he must adhere to the fundamental law, that is the constitutional law. Also, he commands over the majority support, and therefore he has the political authority, and he has earned enough public support, and therefore he also have, or the Prime Minister office also have a moral legitimacy. So he may be the first among the equals, but in theory. But in practice, he is often the only one who counts when we talk about the government of India. All right, so that would be all in today's session. I hope that you have a complete understanding of the constitutional provisions related to Prime Minister of India. Where I'll see you in the next video, where we'll be talking about the next constitutional, lays down, or the constitutional mechanism that we'll be covering in the next video. So that would be all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind. Please do not forget to like the session as well as share and subscribe to our channel for more such future updates. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind.